Hey, what's up, you guys? How are you? I hope you're doing well. Sorry, I know it's been a minute since I've done these recordings, but it's been a little crazy. Either way, no excuse. So let's get into the word for today. Coming from the book of Psalms, chapter 57, verse 2, it says this: I cry out to God Most High, to God who fulfills his purpose for me. I'll go on to verse 3. It also says, he will send help from heaven to rescue me, disgracing those who hound me. Now, you have to understand briefly in this particular psalm, this is when David essentially was fleeing for his life. Saul was after him, trying to literally kill him. And poor David, literally running from town to town, village to village, even finding himself in a cave with Saul, having every right and opportunity to kill him. But because David is someone that fears the Lord, whose heart is literally after God's own, he decides that he's not going to do this abomination against God's anointed one, which was Saul. Even though, yes, God took his hand off of Saul a while ago, David still knew that he had to still honor him and not, kill him, even though he had every opportunity to do so. But either way, going back to the book of Psalms, chapter 57, verse 2, I want us to specifically, of course, focus on the part where he says, it is God who will fulfill his purpose for me. And the key thing that I want to point out here is that, when it comes to fulfilling purpose and living out your God-given purpose, you cannot do it in your own strength. You cannot do it in your own way. You don't have the ability. We don't have the ability or the capability to fulfill our God-given purpose unless the Spirit of the Lord helps us. Unless God helps us to fulfill it, we can't do it. So in this particular Psalms, basically David is trusting that God will fulfill his purpose for his life, right? And so we have to rely on God to help us fulfill our purpose. No matter where we find ourselves, no matter what is going on, no matter the circumstances of life, we have to just continuously trust and believe that if God has put me on this earth in this particular time, in this particular season, in this particular generation, then I have to trust that he will fulfill his own purpose in my life, no matter what. As long as I'm yielded, as long as I'm surrendered, as long as I'm obedient and I'm following, doing my best to follow the path that he has me on, God will shortly meet me where I am, or meet us where we are. I keep saying me, I guess I'm talking to myself too, right? Of course. But just to wrap up, because I don't want this to be too long, just trust that God will fulfill his purpose for your life. Just as David cried out to God, trusting and believing that doesn't matter what it looks like now, doesn't matter what it feels like. God is faithful enough to fulfill his purpose in our lives. So be encouraged, my dear saints, and know that we are not in this alone. God has not left us as sheep without a shepherd, right? He is very much present. He is very much aware, especially when we find ourselves in quote unquote unfavorable circumstances and situations. Trust that it's still working out for our good. Trust that God will ultimately fulfill his purpose for your life. Muse on that this week as we go along. I pray that, the Holy Spirit would continuously lead you on the path of purpose, and know that God is definitely more than faithful enough and can be trusted enough to fulfill his purpose in your life, as long as you are leaning into him, looking to him, focusing on him. God can be trusted to fulfill his purpose in your life. So muse on that this week, family, until I come back again with another Purpose Pod clip. And take care. God bless.